Right now, somewhere in your life, there is $1,000 in a checking account, a direct deposit landing Friday, a drawer you keep meaning to sort out. You think of it as yours, sitting there, waiting for you. Money is money, but that $1,000 is not sitting still. It moves quietly every single day, and the direction it moves depends on something most people never think about. Because the same $1,000, the exact same bill, lives two opposite lives depending on whose hands it's in. In yours, right now, it's slowly being taken apart. A fee you didn't read, an interest charge that compounds while you sleep, a price baked into things you buy that you'll never see on a statement. In someone else's hands, that identical thousand is doing the opposite, working, multiplying, paying them while they do nothing at all. Same number, same currency, opposite fates. The difference was never how much money you had. It was which side your money was on. There's a line where your money quietly switches sides, stops working against you, starts working for you. Almost no one notices the day they cross it. Start at the bottom, because the bottom is where the machine is most honest about what it's doing. You're 23. That $1,000 isn't an investment. It's the entire distance between you and disaster. It sits in a checking account that you watch the way you'd watch a candle burn down. You think the problem at this level is not having enough money. The problem is what money does to you when you don't have enough. The check arrives Thursday. Rent cleared Wednesday. For 11 hours, your balance is negative $4. The bank charges you $35. Not because it cost them $35 to hold a negative balance overnight. It cost them nothing. They charge it because they can, and because the people it lands on are the people least able to argue. You needed a deposit for the apartment, so the car insurance came due, so you put it on a card at 26%. You buy the small bottle of detergent because the big one is $19 and you have 11. The big one is cheaper per ounce. You know that. You buy the small one anyway, because cheaper per ounce is a luxury that requires money you don't have today. This has a name. Economists call it the poverty premium. The simple version is this: the less money you have, the more everything costs. Not metaphorically, in actual dollars. And your $1,000 in this life never gets the chance to grow because it is constantly being asked to bleed. The fee, the interest, the deposit, the small bottle. It leaks out faster than you can pour it in, and you start to believe something quietly poisonous, that you are just bad with money. You are not bad with money. You are paying a tax nobody calls a tax, charged specifically to the people who can least afford it. And that tax is the reason the 1,000 never becomes 2. You're 28 now, and you climbed. You stopped overdrafting. You built a small cushion. There is $4,000 in a savings account. And for the first time, you are not afraid of Thursday. This feels like winning. And compared to before, it is. But the relief is hiding a second leak, one that never shows up as a fee, which is exactly why it's worse. That $4,000 is earning you almost nothing. The account pays 1/100th of 1%. On $4,000, that is 40 cents a year. Meanwhile, the prices of the things you actually buy are rising about 3% a year. So in real terms, in what your money can actually do, your safe, responsible savings account is quietly losing around $120 of buying power every year, while you feel proud of it. Your money has stopped leaking out the bottom, but it has fallen asleep. It is not being eaten anymore. It is also not working. It is just sitting still, quietly losing value every month, while you stand guard over it like it's safe. This is the most dangerous level, and almost no one realizes they are standing on it, because it feels like safety, and the safety is the thing costing you. The only way off this level is to do one thing on purpose. Almost no one does it in time. You're 33, and one ordinary afternoon, you do a small thing that does not feel important. You take that $1,000 out of the sleeping account and put it into a fund. A few months later, something arrives in your account that has never arrived before. $30. From nowhere you can see. From no hours you worked. It is honestly almost embarrassing. $30 is not a life. It will not change your week. But it is the first time in your entire life that money showed up because of money, and not because of you. That is the line. Not $1 million, not a mansion. This, a boring fund and a $30 deposit you almost didn't notice, because the direction has reversed. For 33 years, your money moved one way, out, toward fees, toward rent, toward the small bottle. And on this afternoon, for the first time, a piece of it started moving the other way, toward you. You do one more small thing. You set it to reinvest. The $30 buys more pieces. Those pieces pay their own $30 next time, and those buy more. You have just started an engine. It is running now, it is tiny, and it is running. You're 40. You have been feeding the engine for 7 years, a few $100s whenever you could. The deposits are not $30 anymore. They are around $450 a month now, arriving whether you show up or not. And something has changed that has nothing to do with the number. For your entire working life, there was exactly one answer to the question, what would you do if you lost your job tomorrow? The answer was panic. Now there is a second answer. It is small. It is incomplete, but it exists. $450 a month exists, no matter what happens in that meeting on Tuesday. You are still 98% dependent on your paycheck. But the 2% that is not changes how you sit in the room. And I'll be straight with you here. The exact numbers depend on your rates, your timing, the market, and those move. The direction does not. That is what money on the right side actually buys, long before it ever buys freedom. It buys the ability to say no and survive it. You're 50. You did nothing dramatic. No lottery, no windfall. You just refused to stop the engine when the middle felt too small to matter. The income arriving from money you already own is now around $1,300 a month. And $1,300 a month is not a number anymore. It is the car payment, the insurance, the utilities, a real, removable piece of your life that you no longer have to trade your hours for. You have not retired. You are still working. But the math of your working life has inverted. You used to need every dollar of your salary just to exist. Now you don't. And the difference shows up everywhere. In how you negotiate, in what you tolerate, in the specific quality of a Monday morning. The same $1,000 that bled out of your hands at 23 is now at 50, defending you. It switched sides. You were there when it happened. You just didn't hear a sound. And then there is the top, the level most people will never reach, but everyone should understand it, because it tells you what the game actually is. At the top, money is not expensive, it is the cheapest it will ever be. The person with $10 million does not pay $35 overdraft fees. Their bank waives them, calls them by name, hands them a card with a limit they will never touch. They do not pay 26% on a card. They borrow against assets they already own at 3%. And they often never sell those assets, which means they often never pay tax on the money at all. The same $1,000 that cost you to hold at the bottom now pays them to hold it. Sit with that. At the bottom, your money costs you money. At the top, money makes money simply by existing in the right hands. The system that charged you a premium for being poor pays a premium to people for being rich. And it does all of it quietly, in fees no one reads and rates no one questions. So the people paying the most are the ones least likely to ever find out. Forget the dollar amounts for a second. The part that actually matters is smaller than any of them. The line was never $1 million. The line was the afternoon at 33. The boring fund. The $30 you almost didn't notice. The line is the moment your money stops leaking out and starts, even a little, flowing back. And the reason most people never cross it is not that they couldn't. It is that the leak is invisible and the sleeping account feels safe, and the engine stays humiliatingly small for so long that quitting feels reasonable. They needed it to be dramatic before it was ready to be dramatic. You don't have to do that. You started this video thinking you had $1,000. You don't, really. You have $1,000 and a direction. And the only question that ever mattered, the only one, is the one almost no one stops to ask. Which side is your money on? There's a line where it switches sides. Now you know the day you cross it.
This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial professional before making any financial decisions.